Cordisco's Corner Store is hosting its 5th annual chess championship. The Broome County Chess Championship Francis Cordisco Memorial got started over the weekend. Organizer John Cordisco says it's an opportunity for chess fans, both experts and newcomers, to test their level of skill. There are 2 sections depending on level of play, and both have cash prizes for the top 3 winners.
We draw some really good players. There's some pretty good players in this county, and it's a very high quality chess compared to the number of people in the area. It's a great tournament, and I encourage people to come down and just to watch if they want.
The second and final round is this Sunday from 10 until 4, and it takes place at Cordisco's Corner Store at 308 Shenango Street in Binghamton.
Hi folks, John Cordisco back again. This is a video from my 5th annual Broome County Championship Francis Cordisco Memorial 2014. It's the open section, the upper section. White is Antonio Scalzo from Scranton, Pennsylvania. Rated almost 2,200. Antonio's a good player. And another very good player from Broome County is Weatherley is black. He's rated almost 2,100. These guys are experts plus. So let's get to it. Scalzo is white, Weatherley is black. It's going to be something you don't see a lot. Antonio is kind of a creative player. He's going to play the Danish Gambit, which is really interesting here. You're going to see. If Queen had taken the pawn instead, after Knight C6, Queen, Knight F6, Black's got a pretty good advantage in development and everything else. And look at White's king side. Did not develop. Actually, both sides aren't developed at all. So Knight to F3, D5, E5. Interesting. D takes, Knight takes, C6. Now Black is up a pawn, but he's quite a bit behind in his development. We're going to see if that hurts him or not. These guys are both great players. Bishop to D3, Bishop G4, Scalzo castles, Weatherley goes Knight to D7. Still, there's no pieces on Black's side developed. We'll see if he goes queenside castling. Rook to E1, and he goes queenside. This is going to be interesting when you get 2 strong players and they're opposite side castling. If Bishop had taken Queen takes, Knight takes, Queen to D1, and that's a pretty good, it's a tiny advantage for Black. Even though he's 2 pawns up, he's got a tiny advantage because of his development problem. After castles, Bishop F4, Knight C5. Black's a little cramped up here, and that's because of the gambit, because of the pawn. Rook to C1, Knight to E6. Now this is where I think the computer says White miscues. It calls for Bishop to D2 or Bishop G3, back off the Bishop. Or excuse me, Bishop G3, then H5. Here's where White miscues. It calls for H3, Queen to A4, and the last, not a very good move, H4. Now I know Antonio why he did it. He wanted to stop the progression of the H pawn. If he had gone H3 instead, after Bishop takes, Queen takes, King B8, and it's dead even. Dead even. And now Black miscues. 2 miscues in a row. Very rarely do you see this with really good players. 2 double question mark moves in a row, at least by the computer standards. G5. I guess he wanted to open it up. Knight to B5. Queen to A4 was the suggestion for the computer, and a fairly close second was Knight to B5, so that's a good move. King moves over. Knight to D6. Pawn takes, Bishop takes. Black's in a bad spot. What's he going to do? Oddly enough, the computer calls for one of the moves, Queen takes H4, He's going to lose a piece that way, but let's see what happens. I mean, you've got knight's going to fork the rooks. You got the queens in pre. I mean, black's got some problems. Queen of d7 is the move that the computer thinks is the best. And black goes f6. And now starts some serious problems. Knight to f5. Black miscues again. And this is a tough position to play. I'm not putting Darryl down. Darryl's a great player. He's way better than I am. He's one of the top 3 players in this county. He's just under some pressure, and it's tough. Queen to f7. Slowly, white's advantage is increasing. E takes. Bishop takes. Queen takes. Knight h6. And now it's jumped up dramatically. Here the computer calls for it. I kind of agree. Knight to c5. He's going to start getting rid of, trading off some pieces.
Madness, residents from all over the state and even Pennsylvania came out today for a different type of competition. Cordisco's Corner Store hosted its 5th annual Broome County Francis Cordisco Memorial Chess Tournament. Dozens of people of all ages participated in the all-day tournament. Owner John Cordisco says while chess is a very different type of tournament, it still holds exciting outcomes.
And it's great. Chess is one of those games where you can have an 8-year-old play an 80-year-old. And it happened one year where the 8-year-old actually beat the 80-year-old. And it's one of the few sports where age and physical size has absolutely zero to do with your ability.
Broome County Executive Debbie Preston and City of Binghamton Mayor Rich David made the ceremonial first moves. The competition will continue next Sunday, and anyone interested in joining can visit uschess.org.
It's not looking good for black right now. Let's go through a few more moves. He tries to hold on the best he can. Knight h6, rook c to d1. And the computer calls for rook to g8, which makes sense. I guess he's trying to get some counterplay. You got the 2 knights here coming in. You know, might be able to drum up something after rook here. Maybe queen here, I don't know. Try to get some kind of attack going, but he goes knight to c5. And after knight takes, bishop takes, rook to e7, and black's in a world of hurt right now. Poor Darryl. Queen f8. Queen to g3 check. Knight to a8. And you can see this coming. Bishop's coming in, cut off the escape squares. Rook. Queen just swings over the other side after the king. Knight to e4. Queen to b4. Slowly the queen is snaking its way in. Rook to b8. It's got to guard that b7 pawn. Bishop takes, pawn takes. Now comes the other rook. We got double rooks on the 7th rank. How does that go? They're pigs. They eat all the pawns. Queen to c8. Got to guard that b7 pawn again. Queen snabs the free pawn there. And this is tough for black. How's he going to survive this? Anyone that's keeping track, white's only up 1 pawn. Rook. Queen to h7. Now you have triple power. What do they call that? You get a horizontal Alekin's gun on the 7th rank. You don't see that much. Bishop to f8. Hits the queen. Queen moves. Hits the queen again. Queen moves. And this is where white miscues, I think. Bishop g3, which is a logical move, but the computer wants to go g3. Then after that, queen e5, queen d3. And it's still, I think, maybe drawable for black. After bishop g3, believe it or not, the computer gives a tiny advantage. Now it's going back to 0. It's basically even and a tiny advantage for black, believe it or not. Calls for queen e1 check. King to h2, only move. And this is where I think black had a chance to draw this and missed it. Now this is move 33. I don't know if there was any time pressure, We were playing game 75, which means each side has 75 minutes to play with a 5-second delay. He won rook to b4, which makes logical sense. Wants to guard the b7 pawn again, but the computer liked h4. Then after bishop takes, bishop c5. And I think black survives. Oddly enough. If you want to know the truth of it, it's crazy. Black might survive that. But after rook to b4, rook takes c6. Excellent move. Excellent move. Because we see why the pawn can't take. Because rook takes mate. Rook to e8. Queen to c2. And this is where black resigned. Actually, it shows 3 different moves for black. And after that is mate in 16. Yeah, look, you're going to calculate mate in 16. Anyway, folks, that was a heck of a game. It was fun to watch anyway. So I want you all to remember, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.
Chess is a game of concentration and skill. Some may consider chess old-fashioned, but it's alive and well in Broome County this weekend. Today was the 5th annual Broome County Chess Tournament in Binghamton. Players from across the area stared at their pieces, calculating the right move. The tournament's organizer calls today's turnout decent, but he says he misses the days when the competition was full.
But for sit-down tournaments like this, it's hurt the numbers a little bit because people can play online, but it's still the most popular game in the world, still.
The youngest player in the tournament was Raymond Wong. He's an 11-year-old from Ithaca. He isn't ranked yet, but his competitors say he's one of the best in the area and a player to watch in the coming year.